So, welcome to Beyond the Baller. This is our first podcast. We are looking to introduce all things youth football in Scotland. My name's Tam, and I'm with my counterpart, co-host, and partner in crime, Dale Walker. We're here to discuss all things relevant in Scottish youth football. And I think it's quite an important topic as we move forward and highlight some of the, how could we say, things that are working well and things that maybe could be improved. And we're going to look at the Grassroots game in a wee bit of depth. And Dale is going to take us through some of his experiences, and I'll hopefully chip in because we've got a wealth of different experience, I would say.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good intro for you, Dale, to come in and speak about your time in football, basically.
Yeah, so obviously I've been living in Scotland for 12 years now and worked at all levels. So I've been fortunate enough to work with first team players privately and obviously the grassroots game as well. And like nearly every coach, they started out by working with the son, and that's how it started for me. Started with my son when he started playing football in 2015, I want to say, 2014. So I've got a lot of experience with grassroots, and then managed to work for Rangers, scouted at Motherwell, and then I'm currently still a scout at St Mirren as well, covering all age groups from under 8 all the way up to under 18s. So I've got a wealth of knowledge with that. Fortunate enough to be part of the Royal Navy Scotland team, playing and coaching in it. So that gave me a look at the men's side of it, but more focus is probably youth football, and I think that's probably where I excel, is with the younger generation, you know. So.
Yeah, good. So a wee bit about my background as well. My current job is a lecturer in building services engineering, so I do not claim to be an expert in youth football, but I've got an experience in it. But I've also had a varying career, let's say, in football and moving into coaching, where I coached adult football and moved into youth football when my son started taking it up. That was just post-COVID. So I've got many failings, but I think I've got a wee bit of strength and depth from my own youth football knowledge. Done okay eventually at youth football. But then 16-year-old came and you need to make decisions, and do you need to go and work? And for me it was you had to go and work. Then a varying adult career, a wee bit of junior, a wee bit of amateur, high level amateur, and then mid-level amateur is what I would say I finished it. And the over 35s came in, and that's where I coached. So that's my fleeting football career. Obviously could go into that in a wee bit of depth, but for now that's enough for us.
Yep.
To move forward. So I just wanted to pick up, Dale, on what do you think of the condition of Scottish youth football, especially in the west of Scotland? We're in the west of Scotland. We can't really speak about Scotland overall, but I think it would probably be fair to say that it's probably the same across the central belt of Scotland and maybe into Dundee, maybe Aberdeen. What do you feel the condition is at the moment of Scottish youth football?
Yeah, it probably breaks down to two parts, really. I think in terms of how good some of the teams are, I think the tier 1 side of football in Glasgow, Paisley, and covering the whole of Lanarkshire and everywhere else, I think there's some top teams, and they probably don't get the credit they deserve for how good they are. But then on the flip side of that, how it's run could probably be better, in my opinion. I think that facilities become a problem, and if we're to make players stronger at grassroots and then step into the academy system, facilities need to be more available. Grass parks are written off for 5 months of the year because of the rain up here. We can't control that. But could there be more funding? I know the SFA do a lot of funding, but could they do more? That's probably another debate. We could be in all day on funding.
So let's break that down a wee bit. Let's break that down. So I've got experience from a community club, grassroots level. I had a great time there. Thought it was really good for my my apprenticeship as a youth football coach. Failed at a few things. Major decisions went wrong, and I'll go into them without obviously naming names and things like that. But I thought I was very successful at getting the best out of a lot of the kids. Where I feel that there's an issue is a lack of support for volunteer coaches. And it's just a parent's luck, in my view, how that ends up. Geographical area, coach's experience, how good the coach is with kids, because at the end of the day, people are volunteering their time up, sometimes 4 times a week, loads of free time with their family, to then commit to that for children to get better. I feel there's a lack of support in there. What that looks like for getting support, who knows?
Yeah, I agree. I think if you're talking about session planning for let's just use that for a good example. I think most clubs probably train 2 to 3 hours a week. If they're doing 2 nights, they're probably not getting much more than an hour and a half, are they?
Yep.
1 day a week, they're probably not doing that. So you're probably getting 2 nights a week.
Again, that's just luck, isn't it? That's just luck about what club you land at.
Yeah, of course. And
some parents don't know.
Exactly. And to be fair, it's not up to the parents, is it, to distinguish what's the best club to be at? You're just trying to get the best for your boy or your girl, aren't you? That's what you're trying to do. I think with session plan, it's a mega problem. And I think if you've got a pitch hire for 1 hour, that 1 hour needs to be so vital.
Yeah.
It needs to be hitting the nail on the head for what that team needs. And that'll depend on tiers. That'll depend on how many players you've got, how many coaches you've got, how many balls you've got. Some team haven't got a ball for every player.
Yep.
And I find that mental. I think every team should have a ball, at least 1 ball for every player. Because I wouldn't start a warm-up without a ball by the feet. I wouldn't do that, in my own opinion. We'll get into this soon, obviously, but I would never start a warm-up without the player
having a ball.
100%.
So then I'll take that, we'll reverse slightly, and we'll go to the facilities, and let's say one team, because I remember when I was 13, 14 years of age, started at Hillington Boys Club. 1 hour per week was our training slot down at the Ibrox complex. But it was up to us as players at that age to go and play in the street, play with your friends. What facilities did we have? We had a thing called the Cages, which is in Cardonald, and that was a great sort of grounding for players to develop, because there was always somebody there. It was always available. There was always areas where you could go and play. So traditional games and stuff like that, big, what we called sidies at the time. And I don't think that happens anymore. We'll reverse again. I'm probably losing track, and I apologise for that. But going to that, back to that 1 hour, let's say there's 4 coaches for 2 teams. Let's say there's a tier 2 and a tier 3 team that this community club has, for example, and 3 of the coaches can't make it that night. What then happens? We've experienced it.
Yeah,
so what then happens is that this person that's volunteered all their time, who cannot be criticised, by the way, at all, makes up a training session for 20 bodies. Now, we've saw it, and we spoke about this before, the rondo element of what that looks like. I'll let you pick up on that.
Yeah, the rondo one's a big one for me, and I think it's only became a buzzword the last 5 years. I really do. We never used to call it rondo. We just called it hot boxes. That's what we used to call it as kids. Yeah. So in England, well, different parts of England, obviously, we used to call it a hot box. So you'd have one guy in the middle, and it was called a hot box because you'd be blowing if you didn't get out of it. And we used to do it as if you didn't win the ball back, you stay in. So I wouldn't do a rondo unless the team was capable of handling a rondo. So it's a possession game, isn't it? The idea is possession.
Yes.
And the rondos, to me, is, can your decision making be good? Can your passing be good? Can your touch be good? And everything else is nil and void in a rondo. That's it for me. Because the rondos you're now seeing online that coaches might be putting on, they're not beneficial to the game. There's no movement in it. Mm-hmm. They each pick a corner, give maximum space, which is fine, I guess. Kind of.
Well, you're looking at the stage of the player, aren't you?
Yeah, the age and stage is important. I would never dream of putting a rondo on with an under 7s team, say.
Yeah.
So 6-year-old boys and girls, there's no point, because then they need ball time. That's not ball time. Now, you've said if there's 20 players at this made up grassroots team, we're talking about,
of course.
20 players, one coach, and you're trying to run a rondo. So you can't have more than 2 groups going at once because you can't get eyes on.
Yep.
That means that on the outside of that rondo area, the box, circle, triangle, however you want to set it up, is that there's someone inside that box running for no real apparent reason. And then the players on the outside with one ball between 20 players, I would argue you'd be lucky if you're getting 5 touches of that ball in a 5-minute spell.
So obviously we're focused on an element where we feel that touches of the ball there's elements of that where it's very limited. That can happen. And we spoke about the luck of you being in the hands of a good coach, a knowledgeable coach, an experienced coach, somebody that has got experience in those sort of circumstances. Where I think that needs to go is that there's guidance. Like queuing, for example, is a major problem. Queuing is a major problem. And it's only since I've came over to Ballers and learning for you, basically, is that minimum rest, because we need to maximise everything that happens on the ball in the player development. Yeah. Anybody standing is a no-go.
Yeah. 100%, and that's what I'm saying before with the issues of every player needs a ball. If they're not all got a ball by the feet to at least start 10 minutes into a session, how that warm-up looks could be anything.
Yep.
It doesn't need to be keep-you-uppies. It doesn't need to be dribbling around cones. It could be anything. It could be free play. It could be pure space on a pitch and you say do whatever you want with that ball. That's a warm-up. I don't believe an 8-year-old boy needs to be doing dynamic stretches. In my opinion, I don't think they need to do it. I think they can get the stretching as the ball by the feet. I really do believe that. So it gives me a fear that people are doing warm-ups like what we used to do, getting calf stretches, thigh stretches. That's what we used to do.
Yeah.
Because our coaches, unfortunately, at the time, they weren't educated on it. They weren't taught. And I'm not sitting here saying I know all the answers.
No, but they went to football matches watching the professional game, and they tried to replicate that with young players.
We'll get into it, but my knowledge of football hasn't came from playing. My knowledge of football has been a whole vast...
different area.
Yeah, crazy. A crazy way of learning football was through emotional attachment to it, and we'll get into it, no doubt. But my knowledge hasn't just came from me kicking a ball about. Far from it. And when I first started my own private stuff, I was probably underqualified. And I've learned through making mad mistakes. I've wrecked sessions before, but I fixed it.
Well, I'll pick you up there. Underqualified. How do you determine underqualified? Because if you're from a business model, I understand that you think, okay, I should be overly qualified to start this business. But then we look at the qualifications of some of the people that are running grassroots clubs, and this is no a slant on anybody that's doing that. It's more a highlight of where is the support for these people. Now, what does the support look like? For me, is the...
Well, let's talk about the courses you've done.
Coaching badges. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the coaching badges. Introduction to grassroots football.
What was that? Explain what that was.
Well, that's an online Zoom call, and it's a couple of hour session taking you through what should happen in certain situations and giving you one example of a scenario. And then in 1.1 is the next stage. Money again. I know things cost money. But you go and I'm not doing it a justice here, but I feel that there's a lack of resource support in all of the stages of your development as a coach. there is a limited amount of resources. But if I'm that guy that's taking the 20 kids and I've done up to 1.2, but I've done 1.2 and amongst taking the team, busy work schedule, busy life, etc., etc., I can't invest all of my time in that to go and look at all the resources. I become a YouTube coach. And by the way, we all use it. We all use it and we see what's on social media. But I feel there should be some form of
guidance.
Manual type.
A manual, yeah.
Yeah, a manual. Could we call it a curriculum? Could it be a curriculum where in various different setups for how many kids that you've got, this should happen, that should happen, this is what a session should look like. And obviously I've no broken down exactly where I'm at in my coaching journey, but that's maybe for another time. I just feel there was on my current journey with the SFA at the moment, I feel there's a lack of resource support. So my question to you, because you're more qualified than me in badges, but I'm not saying you need badges. I'm not saying you need badges. I'm not saying you need anything. That a coach can be quantified as a better coach than somebody with an A licence, for example. There could be a grassroots coach that's a better coach than an A licence candidate that's just went through and paid the money and been involved with certain things. Might not be the right fit for me. But what does a session look like for you? Because you've obviously created your business. It's now successful. There's waiting lists for just about all group sessions. What does that group session look like? So let's say you've got an hour and you've got 20 kids. Obviously, you've got coaching support there as well, with additional coaches coming in to help you, assist you, me, and the other guys that's in the team. What does that session look like for you? What should it look like?
Yeah, that's a great question, by the way, because it will change. It will change week to week because we don't try and run the same session twice. But I think the first bit always has to have a form of ball mastery. We never used to call it that. We probably used to call it touches of a ball. So ball mastery to me is everyone has a ball. For the first 10, 15 minutes, it will look like that. Normally it's free play. So we'll normally do 2 minutes aerial work. So it'll be keepy uppies, different forms of keepy uppies, can use different parts of the body to do keepy uppies. This is obviously dependent on level. So the Wednesday group's the top group. And I would argue it's probably the strongest group of players in Glasgow all together at one point. I really would argue that. And there'll be others that probably say, you don't know for definite. This is just from what I've seen. I would question that intensity of that Wednesday night group might not be able to be replicated anywhere else. That's from the boys, not us. They deserve every bit of credit of that.
But we create the environment as well.
Yeah, we do. Sometimes you have to send a rocket into them and you have to have a bit of honesty, and the true words do come out now and again. Say, listen, you need to pick that up because you're better than that. We love that. I think that's why we've got waiting lists, because there's an honesty. But I'd also say I've lost friends because of honesty. I've actually truly lost guys I've served in the Navy with because I was too honest with the kids and they've gone now. That's a fact. That's happened. So the first 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes will be ball mastery. Everyone will have a ball and it will be controlled chaos, I'd like to call it. Because on the outside looking in, it'll look mental. To us, there's a reason it's happening, because the game's mental. You don't get a minute's peace in Scottish football. Anyone who's played any sort of decent level will know you do not get time on the ball at any level, all the way from the SPL all the way down to amateurs. It's a fact. So we try and implement that to get it good habits. And then we'll normally go into ball mastery that will lead into a pass and a receive. Now that could be a pass that's inside the foot, outside of the foot. Can they shift the body over to get onto the outside? Can they receive back to goal? Can they receive facing the goal? Can the touch be good enough to go diagonal? It's a multiple of things. Can they receive in the air?
Well, I think that's where the progressions come, and that is where the experience and knowledge comes from.
And that's a great way of putting it, right? The progressions, because every session I do and I've ever done for the past, I'd say maybe 2 years, it's layered. So there's a meaning to it. So the start will be a beginner level, if you like, and then it'll go intermediate level, then it'll go advanced level, then it'll go, right, can I push them to see if they can do it till failure? That's the dream. And that's what I think, if I was a coach listening to this at a grassroots team, there's honestly nothing wrong with starting a session with everyone with the ball, going into a game, coming back out of a game to do ball mastery, and go back into a game. And a game can be a 2v2, a 3v3, a 4v4, or a 7v7. It can be anything you want.
Yep.
It needs to have flow. It needs to have. Can it be directional? The amount of things we've seen, I've seen it online. There's no direction. Where they're going? What's the next step? The game's never going to change, right? It'll speed up. The pitches will get better, the balls will get better, and the players maybe become more technical. But it will never change. It'll always be 11v11 at the end of the day.
Yep.
And whoever scores the most goals wins the game.
So just summarise that for me, please. Just the what a general session would look like.
So I'd say the first 10 minutes is ball work on their own, individualised. Try whatever you want. Do whatever you want with that ball for 10 minutes, as long as you're in control of it.
And obviously that can be for age and stage. You can be given prompts regarding...
Yeah, can you use your left foot more? Can you go inside? Anything.
Different types of skills.
Yeah.
Naming the players is always that undertake the skills. So Neymar's and Zidane's and all these sorts of things.
So we talk about that because we need to...
It's relatable
we
to
need
them.
Exactly. We need to be generational. We need to mix with their brain. We're talking about 8-year-old kids here sometimes. So you need to get on their level. Their level's FIFA.
Yeah.
Their knowledge is came, FC25 it's called now, this with dinosaurs. But you've got to match what they're thinking. They don't know. You talk about Johan Cruyff and you have to explain to him why he done that. And I do. I think I break that down quite well, and that he was a left or right winger, or he could play up top as well. But the reason he used to do it was to buy time to sell them one direction. So if you use Neymar, if you use Bellingham's got a 10 now, for God's sake. Do you know what I mean? Like, loads of these players are coming in. He's only 23 or something, and he's got a skill. So that's what I'd do, 10 minutes ball mastery. And then, depending on your numbers, I'd normally go into a ball mastery into passing and receiving. Could be anything. But make them change direction. That's one thing I'd always say. Don't just receive and go straight forward. Can they change direction? Can they go sideways or backwards?
So let's break that down for the viewers. So everybody's got a ball at the start and there's 10 minutes of ball mastery. Then we go into pass and receiving. What do the cues look like in the pass and receiving drill then?
It's very rare there'll be over 4 on the line. Very rare, because you need to give them maximum ball time still. So the energy needs to be high, but they also need rest. It can't just be, you can't thrash them in a 2-man queue, say you can't thrash them.
Yeah.
Because you'll gain nothing. They'll last for about 2 minutes max and then they'll be blowing.
Yes.
We want them blowing, but controlled. It's not a thrashing session. It's not about that. It's not a fitness session. Far from it.
But you create that environment where they're naturally going to be fit because
the standards we set.
They are going at maximum intensity when they can.
That's an important cue. That's an important thing to say. That is that everything we do is at maximum ability. Your warm-up's done. Your warm-up was your time to get your touches in and to see how fast you can manipulate that ball.
Yes.
Doing a certain skill. But now we're in the game. And the game starts when the warm-up finishes. The game doesn't start when the game starts. The game starts when your warm-up's done. So once you've had your drink break, right, we're in now, we're dialed in.
Correct.
And that is the difference. And that's what I'm seeing from what we do on a daily basis with every group session or one-to-one. That's the difference, in my opinion, is that everything we demand is at the highest of levels. And we set the standard and they deliver. And I think we've got a very good relationship with the players, but the parents even more. And that's why there's a waiting list.
Yeah.
Is the parents want that honesty. And it's safe. Listen, we're not militarized. Obviously, I was in the military, but it's not a militarized event. It's far from it. But there's discipline. This is bigger than football. This is massive. This is a life lesson. And like I've said to you previously, if I had me or yourself, I'd have had a good chance. I would have had a really good chance. But I didn't have this. Didn't have that male advice to nail it into me. Say, if you work harder, or if you do this, or you do that, can you twist? Dale, can you take it on your left and finish left foot?
The way you move your body, for example.
Yeah, and we're not scientists. Listen,
the way you protect the ball.
Sam, we ain't scientists in that. The biometrics of the body. We're not geniuses with this, but we know how to get the best. If you're a smaller player, we can teach them how to protect that ball. We can.
To use their slightness to an advantage. Yeah.
The greatest player that's ever walked on this planet is 5'7". It's not a fluke. It's generational. You'll never see a player like him again. But we are producing these young players. We are producing them. So anyway, I've gone off track. I do that a lot.
It's all right, mate. It's all
the
right.
passing, receiving. Yeah, that'd be done. And we'd normally, depending on how good the group is in terms of what level they're at, we'd probably add a little bit more in. So there might be a transition from one side of the pitch to the other. That's normally a popular one we do, where they've played with the little group of 4, and then right now, can we open our body up and switch that to the other side, whether that's diagonal, horizontal, vertical. It doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter. It could be anything, and then it could be a different variation of pass. Is it on the ground? Can we flick it? Can we shift it from left foot to right foot, or right foot to left foot, and then play the other side? Can we do that? So we're just trying to manipulate body shapes to see how agile we are. It's just all a big test, really, to test how they are in terms of receiving, moving, and driving with the ball.
So this is all unopposed, and you would
start with,
you would suggest then 10 minutes of ball mastery after the warm up. So we're probably at 15 minutes into the session, round about that. We're then going to a passing, receiving, probably a drill. Q's a 4, no more than 4 anyway, and that would look like developing touches, maybe include the ball mastery and things as well, playing your passes, receiving it, and this is all unopposed. So then that takes us to probably half an hour into the session, maybe 35 minutes. What do we then progress to? Because right now you've set the tone of that's a 35-minute real hard workout for 8-year-old children, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's the sort of age groups that we're looking at, primary school. So then moving forward for that, what does that then take us into, lead us into for that next hour? The next 25 minutes of the hour, sorry.
It'd have to go opposed now, so you would have to apply pressure. So obviously they normally have a drink break. So they've done the technical side of it. They've moved with the ball. They've performed skills with the ball. They've passed the ball, they've received the ball, and then passed again. So the only thing that's missing is probably finishing in terms of an attack and themed session. And we don't really focus on finishing. We've got a finishers class we do. We control them ball by foot because we're trying to get the brain connection between the feet and the ball.
The relationship of
There has to be a relationship. There has to be, because we focus on, we always say, you're not allowed to look at that ball. Do not look at it. I want you to look at the feet of what the opposition's doing. So we'd normally go opposed, so it'd be small sided, so 1v1s, 2v2s. Very rarely would go into larger than that, purely because we cap the groups. We do have busy groups, but it's very rare we'll go any higher than a 3v3. And not just that, but it minimises ball time again. A 2v2 won't minimise ball time all that much, and it will have rules. They'll have to do something.
Conditions.
Yeah, it'll be a condition of you must play a pass between each other. You have to. Because we want to see, can you move off the ball after you've released? It's important. It's not coached either. Mm-hmm. How can I move to get back on the ball? How can I get it, give it, and get it again? How can I do that? And there's loads of different ways. Can you underlap? Can you overlap? Can you fake your run? Can you come back in? It's so many different ball manipulation. But 1v1s will be the primary focus of it, because I believe if you have, and we're talking about trying to get to the next level, is if you have any chance of being a pro youth football player in Scotland, you must be 1v1 dominant. Whether you're strong at defending or strong at attacking, you must be one of them. If you can be both, fantastic. We've got players who can be both. We've got them in our clients who come to us who are both. But if you can be very good at one and decent at the other, right, we're okay. Because we can work on the strength and then carry on with the weakness, you know. And then it would lead on to small-sided normally. But it'll depend how it goes. If it's going well, I don't stop it.
Yeah.
Why would you stop it? It doesn't need fixed. Very rare we step in unless there's valuable information that needs to be given at that point. And that's the difference with a good coach and elite level coach, in my opinion. And I'm not saying I'm either or. It's not about me. But if you step in at the wrong time, you've killed the flow. And you'll lose them. Because they can't grasp more in 20 seconds.
Yeah, of instruction.
Can't deal with it. We can't deal with it. When we used to play, I used to get bored if the gaffer talked for more than 20 seconds. Like, Jesus Christ, mate, shut up.
Yeah.
And they'll be thinking that about us. So we try and monitor how many times we stop the play. Listen, if it's not going well, can you adapt? And I remember we've had this chat.
Can you help?
Can you help the session?
Yep.
Because you need to remember that when they get out that car, right? When they come at 6 o'clock, say, and they've had a long day at school, and when they're getting dressed and getting the shin pads on, they're coming for this.
Mm-hmm.
And see if you're failing them in that 1 hour. They leave unhappy. So if they leave without a smile, I think you've failed as a coach. I honestly do.
So I think generally there you've summed that up very, very well regarding what the hour should look like. But you've also given us an insight into your methodology there. And some would say that would be slightly bizarre, why you're giving away your secrets about your session planning and things like that. What separates ballers from other people? So that's maybe looking to deliver themselves or other coaching centres or whatever it may be. So why would you put yourself out there and give away your secrets about why you would do that?
Because it ain't about me. Like I am not in a competition with anyone. I'm not. I think I've got a lot of weaknesses. I think, like we've spoke about this so many times, tactically, you are better than me tactically. I struggle at times with why are we playing that formation against them when they've got it two at the back? Why aren't we just going three up front and just go with them? Well, you'll break it down better for me, and that'll be to do because you've had the adult side of it. You've had you've had much more 11s experience coaching than me. But technically, I'd back myself against anyone to technically enhance a 100%. Anyone in the whole of the UK, technically to get the best out of someone, I believe I could back that against anyone. And that's not an arrogance, that is pure confidence because I've failed so many times. Well, let's put it this way. In the last 9 months, we've turned an outfield player into one of the strongest goalkeepers in grassroots football of 2014s. That's happened, and it's happening right now. And I'm not here to shout out what his name is. It's not about that. It's evidence. So I'm not going to make a statement that we're the best in Glasgow, because we're not. There'll be better out there that don't get the hype. Mm-hmm. We're dominated by a world of social media, Tom. And if the video is good, people think it's amazing. But come to a session, any day of the week, come and watch us. And like you said, we'll welcome any coach from any team to come and watch what we do. We're not going to always get it right. They won't like some things you say. They won't like some things I say. But they'll take something from that session that can be brought into theirs. And surely that's what it's all about, innit? Because I'm not even from Scotland. But I live here and I care about the boys and girls who we work with. So if I can make them better and others try and use a little bit of information I give or you give, well, that's why we've started doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Because we're not making money from it.
No.
Do you know what I mean? We're not charging people to listen. Not making money from it. We're actually down money from it.
Aye. You owe me a
coffee.
There's rate.
But we're not doing it. People need to get that. We're not selling ourselves to make money. You'll never see me put on Instagram or Facebook a success story about a player who played for us. Oh my God, he's now playing at Rangers, Celtic, St Mirren, Motherwell. We don't do that. Trust us what we're doing. We know what we're doing. It's working, so we're not going to... I don't need to sell myself. I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to sell my soul to the devil and say, well, if you want a bit more information from me, I'll charge you a tenner. I'm not going to do that. If you want your place to get better, you'll need to pay because it's a business. Mm-hmm. But it'll be a great investment for the future.
Yep.
And even if he doesn't make it or she doesn't make it as a football player, they'll become a better person from it.
Well, just picking up on the success stories, obviously, you've had two teams, we've had two teams. Mm-hmm. And a real success story of that was that you had to disband one of the teams. Mm-hmm. And as much as that probably breaks everybody's heart that a team's folding, it was because we couldn't get the attendance. Because the elite clubs were
Celtic Rangers
were taking them.
Obviously, they had the fixtures the same time as us, so it's affecting it.
So that's obviously a feather in the cap, rather than looking back on it with any dejection. Not that you would anyway, but it's disappointing sometimes when you build something, you go, geez, but that's why we're here.
But you know the beauty of it, right? Is that they're still booking back in for private stuff. Nearly all of them, not all of them, nearly all of them are booking back in for private. Some of them can't make it because they're 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
They're booking back in. And this is what we're trying to say. The end goal is, right, is that, and it might sound dreamers, like a dream world kind of thing. I want to leave a legacy. And the legacy will be like, geez, could you remember that guy? Even when I'm old, mate, and I'm wilting away on my couch and that, do you remember that guy that just believed in me? And just said, just said something to me. Like, big guy, that was amazing. Sam, I don't care how old you are, everyone still likes that arm around the shoulder. I still like it now, I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone still likes a little bit of praise. A little bit. I get a little bit uncomfortable if it comes too much, okay? It's not nice. And you sometimes question whether it's real.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I question whether that's real, or do they think it's the best they've ever seen because they haven't been anywhere else? Yeah, how many statements do you see? How many times have you've been to a restaurant? Best steak I've ever had. It's not me. It's not though, is it?
No, it's the one you can remember.
It's the one you can remember, me, because the peppercorn sauce was nice.
Yep.
And it's the same with everything, not Glasgow, this is worldwide. When you go to a training session, right, and your kid enjoyed it, you will continue to pay that money because he feels good or she feels good about herself. But if you want to go somewhere to another level that you didn't believe your child could do, choose wisely.
Mm-hmm.
I showed you that message last night. I got that message. He's been everywhere. This young boy's been everywhere. 2017 player. And his mum said he was nearly in tears watching him play against Rangers last night because he tried to rainbow flick someone twice at an academy. And she said he would never have done that. That's evidence.
Yep.
Doesn't matter where he's at. That's evidence. Your son's evidence. It works. Is it all the hours they do? Possibly.
Well, looking back on that, I was going to focus on a couple of players without naming their names. And obviously, you name my son. He has grown into a fine young man, let's call it, with the development that he's went under, and he's excelling where he is. But I'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we stop. But he's really excelling. On that note, though, taking this forward, what I believe is a bit of a failing, to be honest with you, is the lack of facilities, but also the lack of primary school football.
Mm-hmm.
So I hear it. Obviously, my boy's at primary school, primary 7 now. It's no all day for football in the playground. It's no all day for the pitches. We're banned because somebody booted it high up.
Yeah.
Come on, man. I remember primary 7, we used to have to play with Coca-Cola, Italia 90 football. And that's going back a while, obviously, getting away my age, and hitting the Janny's window because the Janny's school house was inside the playground. And there was about 40 aside in this game. Primary 5, 6, 7. 6, 7.
Oh, Jesus, man.
Aye, exactly. But there seems to be a severe lack. There was school teams back then when I was growing up, and that was obviously a volunteer and a teacher maybe get a wee bit overtime, or the janitor get a wee bit overtime. But there's these facilities outside the school or within the school grounds, or the accessibility, and there's nothing happening. Absolutely nothing happening. So that leads me to how many hours?
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Well, you're the guy.
No, you're right. It's a great question.
How many hours is it taking to produce, let's call it, an elite level? I hate using that word right enough.
I hate the word as well, but you're right.
But you know, people that are sending their kids to Rangers and Celtic would be classed as elite level players for their age.
100%.
So because they're classed that, we'll say, what type of time weekly amount of time does it take for this to happen?
I'm going to throw a question back at you, right?
Go on.
How many hours do you reckon, roughly, Monday to Friday you'd play? Coached or free play? How many hours, roughly, a day?
For me to do what? Sorry,
just to kick a ball around. How many hours do you reckon you were doing Monday to Friday a day? Back when you were a kid.
Right, okay. Obviously, it was dependent, but let's say it was through the summer holidays. It was constant, mate. Well, talk about the cages, and it was constant.
I reckon, and I ain't kidding, from Monday to Friday, whether it was structured training through coaching or just free play with your mates, I honestly believe I was playing about 5 hours a day. And I ain't kidding. Okay, so let's put this into perspective now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we haven't produced the street football in Scotland well before our time. And listen, there's been some brilliant players in Scotland.
100%.
Oh my God, some really good players. I don't think Scotland's produced an elite level football player in terms of a star player since Kenny Dalglish. Now, we're talking 70s when he's in his prime. So we're nearly 60 years. That's nearly 60 years now, isn't it?
So when you're talking about Kenny Dalglish being very special.
I mean a special, sorry, I word that poorly. I can't remember a Scottish, where you've had, you know when you look at England's team, I'm using England as an example, right? England's had a star player ever since I started watching football. Paul Gascoigne, Alan Shearer, David Beckham, Michael Owen, Steven Gerrard, Paul Scholes, Frank We're talking every player I've just named has been world class. Mm-hmm. I don't think Scotland's got a world class player in their team right now. Not world class. Andy Robson 3 years ago, I'd give you that.
But you've got McTominay and Gilmour,
brilliant,
who are
brilliant football players. Not world class.
Obviously, he's been mentioned in the Ballon d'Or running. McTominay.
I think we need to calm down because I think you're giving Ballon d'Ors away like toffee now. Because that's a big statement, eh? Because Scott McTominay doesn't get in the top 4 teams in England. He wouldn't even dream of stepping into Liverpool's side. Man City, not a chance. Arsenal, not a chance. Chelsea, he wouldn't get in there. So I'm talking world class. Now,
you're talking that a player that anybody would have, right? And at any time.
England's a bad example, innit? Because population, let's go demographics here. I don't want to go on about it, right?
Right.
But England's a bad example because it's a bigger nation, right? But Scotland and England's first sport is football. I'd say in Scotland there's a big presence of rugby fans. Because Scotland's rugby team, well, I don't know nothing about rugby, but they were a decent side at one point, I'm sure, right? Other than that, they're the two main sports. Same in England. England have cricket and that. No one cares about cricket, let's be honest, right? So England's a bad example. Let's use a nation of a similar size. Let's go Belgium. Because the SFA model everything they do on Croatia and Belgium, right?
Yeah.
We'll get in. This is going to go deep.
Yes, I
right?
know. How long have we got?
Exactly, yeah. Might extend that book in there, Mark. But Belgium, let's talk about Belgium.
Yeah.
Right? World-class players in Belgium's ranks, they've probably had it in the last 15 years. De Bruyne. Lukaku was world-class at one point. Who else you got in there?
So...
Courtois. Goalkeeper was probably the best goalkeeper in the world at Real Madrid at one point. So this is a nation of a similar population to Scotland. Yeah. Company. Wow. What a player he was.
And there's some I can't even remember.
Exactly. And in Croatia, Modric. Do you know what I mean? Like, they've produced world-class... Before that, David But we're not doing that in Scotland. Now, I haven't got the answers, because if I had the answers, I wouldn't be sat on here in the podcast room. I'd be a multi-millionaire because I'd have the answers for the SFA and I haven't got them. But if you don't start it off young, you might as well just forget about it because it's going to continue. I honestly believe on a Wednesday night group, I keep talking about this Wednesday night group because it's special.
Yeah.
All the groups are special.
That is worth mentioning.
This one stands out. If you're ever bored on a Wednesday night and you can't be bothered watching Champions League football, get to Hillington and watch this session. A parent messaged me saying, thank you for letting me come. The intensity was brilliant. And I replied back saying, I guarantee there's at least 4 professional football players in that group. And people are going to say, how do I know that? I know that. Because if they carry on with the rate of progression they're going, there will be plateaus. There's always a plateau.
Yeah.
if they carry on at the intensity they want to get better at, I guarantee you. If we don't produce that, there's been something along the lines happen. The boys fell in love with football. The parents have, whatever. Doesn't matter. We failed them maybe. We don't know. But if we're not producing first team players out of that group, I'd be very surprised. I don't think everyone can say that.
No. We digress slightly regarding that, and what I would ask was
Sam, I don't even know what the question was.
how many hours?
Sorry.
How many hours? So we've went, what are they doing differently? So what is Croatia and Belgium doing differently from us? And I can probably guarantee you that it's timing the ball.
100%. Sam, we are getting better, by the way.
Oh,
Because the academies are now doing a lot of ball mastery and a lot of 1v1s. I know that 'cause I've been in there. They are, and it's great. That's what they should be doing at pre-academy ages, 100%. The ball time you're asking me about, there's no set time. But I think sometimes, do you not maybe think that if a parent, I was like this, by the way, with my boy, that if I pay extra money to go and do extra tuition somewhere else, it'll make him better? It's actually not true. Because the player we often talk about as one of the strongest 2014s in Scotland, Glasgow, we can definitely say Glasgow. Maybe not Scotland, because we don't know. He's at the pitch nearly every day, on his own, with his mum. His mum drilling balls and his dad volleying balls in the air. He's got to bring him down. He's doing the extras that no one sees. And because it's not Instagrammable, you probably don't hear about it. So his mum and dad don't post it all over Instagram that he's doing extra. But I know he's doing extra. That's the difference. Here's another quote for you. See, when we played, in my school team, there was boys who were excellent, right? Never made it. But they never done any extra with a coach. They do extra in the background. See, if you're at a grassroots club now and you don't do extra tuition, you'll never make it. And that is a fact. Unfortunately.
It comes back to the amount of time with the ball at your feet.
And what's the delivery? What are they getting? What if I'm having an hour with a coach? What's getting delivered? So if you're only on for 3 hours a week with your grassroots team and you play one game on a Saturday or Sunday, right? You need to make sure that them 3 hours
Maximised.
Because they might not. But Sam, maybe we need to move with the times. Because we are fossils now. Because when we played, we wanted to go and play. You have to force your kids out the door now. My ma wouldn't let me in. She wouldn't let me in the house. Get away from under my feet and get out the house. Fine, I'll take a ball with me. We made a quote. Mackenzie, obviously ex-Rangers, who working for us now. He works in our team, coaching team. He said he could do 1,000 keepy-uppies at 10 years old. Keepy-uppies and shooting are the most underused things in grassroots football right now. In youth football, not in grassroots. No one does them. We used to find, see, when I was a kid, we used to paint like a goal on the side of someone's house with chalk or paint or whatever and be smashing them trying to hit top corner because it bounced back so you were made up. You didn't have to go and get the ball back. No one's doing that. I used to do keepy-uppies around my house, around my street, and if it bounced and I thought I'd start again. That's the difference. Are you obsessed? Are you obsessed? No, some of them aren't. So if I'm a parent and I want, you know what my background is with my boy.
Yeah. I
wanted it more than my boy. He didn't want it as much as me. I wanted him to go and play football. And because of my networking with football, I actually thought he probably had a very good chance of doing something. He wasn't technically good enough to go and play in the academy yet.
But with
time, I thought he could have, because of me and the nurturing I could have done with him. I thought I could have gave him good advice, and obviously he fell out of love with football. But you can't make your son become a professional football player. No one's ever became a professional football player because of the mum and dad. You won't do it, and I'll never be able to do it. It's got to come from within. And if you'd rather play on the Xbox, which is fine, by the way, it's actually okay for kids to play on games.
They need to be children as well.
If they don't want to go out and play, maybe they don't want to be professional football players, me.
No, I agree with you.
Maybe they don't want to be, and that's okay. But see, if you do want to become a professional football player, come and see us. And I'll give it all the advice. I think I'm in probably the best position on what not to do with kids. And I think I can give very good advice on how to get to the next stage of your journey. I really do think that.
So I just to take you up on that, it was I done a wee bit of just a wee bit of analysis on what does my boy do, and it's looking around about 9 or 10 hours instructed coaching. And he has went through the roof from where he was. And
is that a week? 9 to 10 hours a week?
9 to 10 hours a week.
That's a lot, yeah.
Because he's got multiple sessions throughout the week, team training, additional training, with group sessions, one-to-ones, games at the weekend and things like that. So all in all, it averages about 8, but it could be up to 10 sometimes, just depending on how busy the schedule is for the team. But you see the benefits. You put the work in, you see the benefits.
Can I throw something back at you?
Go on.
See the one-to-one aspect. What's your opinion on that? Why'd you put him in one-to-ones?
More touches of the ball.
But he could do the touches in his back garden.
Of course he could.
So why do you think? What's your thought?
With all the mannequins, with all the rebounders,
you've got everything.
With all the nets.
Like many parents, you've spent a fortune on gear at the house.
With the lines on the grass to make it look like a football pitch.
So why one-to-ones?
Instructable touches of the ball. I think experience, environment. I don't need to coax him to it, but he enjoys that element of it, and I think he enjoys being with the Rangers B team captain.
Yeah. So I'll have my view on one-to-ones, right? And I'm probably putting myself out of business here.
No, but I've got a counter view on that because my boy enjoys it, but I would go and
so he's one I'd say. Say if you're a beginner in football, do not waste your money on one-to-one coaching. I turn away players who aren't at least tier 2 football players. They'll never get a one-to-one at Ballers because I understand how expensive football is. Life is, to be honest, it's never been higher. It's hard just to live financially for a lot of families, right?
Yeah.
If you're paying whatever the rates are for a one-to-one and he's a beginner, I'd watch the session. If I was a parent, I'd say, watch the session. What are they doing? I won't take them because they don't need me. They don't need you. Don't need the boys who work here. They need touches of the ball. You can do that in your back garden. Let him do that in his back garden or her. Do not pay money out to run around the cone. A one-to-one should be used, in my opinion. Again, I am not the messiah here, right? One-to-one should be used, in my opinion, if there's a shortfall or something that's really been identified that you think could be his super strength. So, is his left foot shooting not particularly great? That's a one-to-one decision. But make sure his right foot's electric. Can he run with the ball? There's players who can't run with the football. There's a technique to it. There is. How can I chop and change? Can I get in and out of space really quickly, but drive at space and then drive fast? Can I stop? Can I go slow? Can I change? There's an art to that. So I'd put him in for that. But don't be going in because you think that a few passes around the cone is going to make them better. It won't. You can do that off a wall. Here's one for you. If you said to your mum or your dad, I want to go in with a one-to-one coach for football, 12-year-old mate, I can imagine the answer without getting explicit content. I'd have been told to jog on if I ever said, can I go to a one-to-one coach? And I could play.
To be fair, it wasn't a thing.
It wasn't a thing.
It wasn't a thing.
I'm just saying that.
But do you think if it was a thing, it would have been as popular?
Nah.
Why has it become popular? Trendy?
I'll tell you why. Right? Social media's obviously made it massive. Yeah? And I do one-to-ones. Social media's made it massive. But I also think that people are scared of missing out. So I reckon our majority of business come through social media, obviously. Yeah, we try and do as best content as we can. But you'll find that every week a reel goes up and it'll be with one of us speaking. I put up sessions of me doing it so people can do it in the back garden. They don't need to keep paying for us. Come for the additionals. But people are scared of missing out. So if Tam's boy's doing it, or my boy needs to do it, they're scared of missing a trick. Where one-to-one coach will never make you professional. It's just an add-on. It's just an add-on.
I've got a controversial view on it.
Oh, jeez, here we go.
I think it's parents wanting more from their child and more touches for their child without them having to convince them that they can go out and do the same thing.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I think the child dominates what happens.
And I think...
And this is behind closed doors for... look, every family will be different. Every family will be different. But if somebody's maybe in a position where I can afford a one-to-one, I'm going to get him out his room off you've got a one-to-one with Dale.
I agree. Yeah.
And they'll go, all right, yes. If they try to go, look, we're going out to the back garden and I'm going to watch you doing keepy-ups and turning and wee bits and pieces, the kid will switch off after 10 minutes and it'll no be a thing. So I understand it from a parent's point of view as well, and that's where I think there's a bit of value, but it's a costly amount of touches of the ball.
Well, and then if the boy or the girl moans about the one-to-one, they obviously don't want to be going.
Yeah.
Save your money. Save your money. Don't worry about it. I honestly do believe that. I honestly do believe if you need to...
There's that thing in the parents' head about missing a trick. People think they're missing a trick.
We're going to do the academy episode, aren't we, another time, right?
Yeah.
But you need to understand that there's still value of staying in your grassroots club. There's still value. Not every academy has better coaches than grassroots teams.
Statement.
I'll say it again.
Make sure that's marked.
Not every academy has better coaches than grassroots teams.
I'd agree with that.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Because when you asked me before what makes a good coach, okay, in fact, you never asked that. You said, what should a session look like, yeah? Mm-hmm. My opinion, what a good coach looks
Get
like.
to the coach in a minute. You reminded me.
What I'd say a good coach looks like, right, is can he be adaptable? So, mate, I've wrote out sessions, right, that have been the best sessions in the world on paper. And it hasn't worked because I pitched it too high or too low. By the way, people don't talk about pitching it too low. See, if the play's really good and you pitched it too low, you're robbing the wages off the mum and dad. Mm-hmm. So fix it. Okay? Yep. So the adaptability part is, can I switch it on and can I change it up? When I set up the pitches half an hour before the session, I'll nail it and I've got it in my head. I know exactly what's going to happen. Mate, I change every session I do in my head. Mm-hmm. So I've written it out on paper, but I change it in my head because I think, right, I wonder if that looked good.
That's where I was weak. And I have progressed.
And I love that because you're humble enough to say that to me. I remember you said to me, like, that's the difference.
That is a difference.
And I think
what an elite level coach looks like.
I agree.
For me.
And I agree with
those progressions, the adaptability, as you say.
Can you step in?
Yes.
Can you demo? Because see if, when my boy played, see if you couldn't demo
what you're expecting them to do,
you wouldn't be anywhere near my kid. Been serious, by the way. Anyone can throw on a session. Me and you are not Pep Guardiola, right? And a statement I often come back to is, it doesn't make me a comedian if I read a joke book. Mm. I've got a B license. I thought it was relatively easy. And I know 15% of that course failed. I thought it was easy. It's because I played. Mm-hmm. And then the flip side of that is, just because you've played professional football or semi-pro doesn't make you a good coach. It's from there and there. Every answer I've gave you has never been scripted. But when I talk, you can hear it in my voice. I love football.
The passion.
I love it, man. It's my first love. And like, I've got so much, my education from it, mate, it came from so much.
But it's the energy and the enthusiasm.
I speak every session, Tam. Every session. You'll never hear me down in the dumps. Listen, sometimes you send rockets to them, especially with the team. We've got a very good team and we send rockets to them. But they know it's coming from that heart because they know how much we love it. And
I didn't touch on our team there, but that is a sign of real development. And
I think people need to know that we did go back down to tier 2, if you remember, because we lost a few to pro youth. So we went to tier 2. And then we obviously were doing really well, and we had to get moved up. And I still stand by statements we make. I think we're exceptional at technically moving the ball around, carrying, receiving. Excellent. Goalkeeper can play with his feet. We're excellent at it.
Yep.
And what people probably don't understand is we don't care about getting beat. I don't care. You don't care, because we don't play for results in Scotland. That's a problem.
This is where we go.
This is a problem.
This is where we go, and that takes me into the support thing that we mentioned about grassroots at the very early stages. From experience, I'm going to make a statement where I think there should be 6 tiers in Scotland.
I agree.
I think there should be, and it should be divisions, because when we go down south and play against grassroots teams in England, obviously there's an age difference in how
Just
that's...
because of school years.
School years, we used to be that same way.
But why change?
Why did it change? Is it because Holland are doing that, or Belgium, or whoever? And I always feel that's a disadvantage, because any time now that Scottish teams go to tournaments, there's always that... there's never that confidence of going down there and saying, look, we're one of the best teams in Scotland. You don't know who you're going to come up against English-wise, because they're 6 months at least more developed.
Well, it's such a great topic, this, right? Because it's something that probably gets brought up more than anything with mums and dads. And I think if you take away the competitiveness of football, right? By the way, I've seen the other side of it, where competitiveness brings out the worst in people. There needs to be a balance.
Yes.
But I'd have refs at under 8 games. Take it away from the coaches. So we have to wait till 9-a-side in Scotland to get a ref. Take the pressure away from the coaches. Let them be.
But that should be a development of referees. That's another thing.
And we're not qualified on that, by the way.
But secondary school, 3rd and 4th year pupils should be able to...
Bit of leadership.
Yep.
Empower them.
I know there's a cost associated to that.
It doesn't matter the cost. Because see 5-a-side teams, they'd pay £20 each to the £40 ref. They wouldn't care, because it makes the game better for everyone. But when you go down to England, you're playing competitive football.
Under 8s, do they start?
I think it's under 9s. And they have certain leagues. Do you know what I would do in Scotland? See, you said your divisions.
Yep.
I'd have whatever you want to call it. You can call it a Super League, an Elite League, the Glasgow, whatever.
I think for simplification, it's good, and without people being, this elite, this Premier, whatever it well may be, I think Division 1, Division 2, Division 3
so Division
would be sensible.
Division 1 and Division 2 would be competitive. 3, 4, 5 and 6 will be dependent on tiers, remember. So it actually doesn't matter if they win, because they're not at they're at a developing stage of their career where they need to understand, can I just play football to get better? So when I talk about us not caring about winning, I know that by the time these boys who we've got in our team turn 16, they've got a good chance, if they stick with us, of at least getting to high-level amateurs, juniors, professional. I know that because they're playing technically. When you play a team that's willing to rifle the ball from right back to left wing, big 40-yard diag, but it's not meant to hit the left winger. It's a clearance because they're under heavy pressure from an attacker, not just us. From loads of tier 1 teams in Glasgow. Really good teams who play really nice football. When you come up against the ones who can't play football and they can't match you technically, they'll just rifle the ball away. But there's no longevity in that boy or girl's career. We're giving them longevity because we're teaching them. I'll take technical over anything. You know that.
Yes.
You know that. I don't take runners. And although a lot of scouts look at the athleticism, it's probably like 5th on my list. I look for wow factors. Is he both-footed? Is he aggressive? Can he pass? Can he shoot? Can he dribble? And so the problem you've got in Scotland in terms of grassroots football is you've got no competitive nature. If me and you go for a job interview and we're both qualified the same, okay, but I've got more experience in hitting deadlines, which is competitiveness, and you haven't, I'll get the job. Life's horrible, by the way.
I agree, and I believe that there should be an element of competitiveness, but I think it should be across the board.
All divisions?
All divisions. And it's only...
So they know what winning and losing feels like, maybe?
Yes, because well done. Well done is the natural thing.
Taking part,
well done, the taking part. And look, I understand that you're saying life's horrible there, but I don't think. Well, put it this way: we're still non-competitive, right? And there's so much movement, players jumping team to team to team to team to team to try and get the best advantage for where's the best training, where's the best team, where is my boy going to get picked up? So, but we're non-competitive. So why does it matter?
Exactly.
So I understand
the academies aren't competitive. The academies aren't competitive. They play friendlies till 16. That's a problem. They have to go abroad or England to get competitive football. Or do a cup of some kind of futsal competition.
Yes. I didn't explain that very well there, to be honest.
No, you did explain it very well. But if the academies aren't competitive, what are we playing for? I'm being serious. Mm-hmm. What are we actually playing for? Because see, on a Sunday, I want to go deep here, right? So just
go on.
That's your trigger one. Okay. My boy, right? So listen, it's not a nice conversation, but it needs told.
Yeah.
Okay. I said before.
How long we go, Mark?
I'm in the best position to give advice on this, right? The best position, because I've done it. Okay. I wanted it more than what Joey did, right? And I'd give him the pep talk of the morning. Okay, so I'd feed him his breakfast. I'd give him porridge and that, thinking, it'd be good for his energy, slow release carbs and all that. I'd get him to his game. I'd pep talk him in the car. I'd play a tune in the car for him to get him revved up. Talking about a 10-year-old boy here. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'd get to the game. I'd tie his shoelaces and I'd say to him, go do me proud. Go do yourself proud. Go do your family proud. See if the first 10 minutes didn't go well, my mood would change. Mm-hmm. Okay? And I'd look away. He'd glance over to look at my facial expression. Okay? He'd look at me and his head's down and he'd have a stinker of a game because he thought, I've let my dad down. We'd finish the game. I wouldn't hardly talk to him. This is a true story, by the way. I drove from the Orium in Edinburgh, right? So when I lived in Helensburgh, I think it was like an hour and 10 minutes. I drove from the Orium to Helensburgh.
Ferrari? I know, in 10 minutes.
I abide by all speed limits. I drove for an hour and 10 minutes and I didn't say a word to him for the whole journey. And he looked out the window, pitch black, and he didn't look at me once. I got home. I sent him to his room because he didn't perform to his dad's level. 10-year-old boy playing elite level, not elite level, but top level grassroots football. Didn't perform well against Hearts. Sent him to his room. Didn't speak to him for the rest of the night. He went to bed without his dad saying, well done, son, proud of you today. Then I brought it into the house, took it out on his mum, ruined the atmosphere in the house on a Friday night, woke up Saturday morning, and then you've got to rekindle your relationship. Now, that's without competitive football. That's without it. Okay, so that's the catch-22, Sam, with the competitiveness and non. If that was competitive and he had the chance to win a medal, I'd be upset that my son didn't get a chance to get a picture on Instagram with a medal. And that is why people get annoyed with not having competitiveness, is that they want the opportunity to sell the children. As I'm really proud of them. We didn't have social media when we were kids. Our performances were judged in a paper cutout. Our name would be in a paper, wouldn't it? Scored. I don't know if he's done that up here, but Grassroots, we used to have scores.
Yeah,
and my name used to be in the paper for scoring goals. So we used to do
in the SYFA. I'm sure their leagues and everybody's youth leagues would be printed.
A little paper cutout was our. Now it's a picture on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I went off key a little bit there. I'm just trying to say don't get too excited with youth football because they're still learning.
Well, I think there's loads, and I think we'll conclude there, but I still think there's loads of points that when we look back on this first episode of Beyond the Baller podcast, then there's probably another 6 episodes that we could
on Grassroots
we could keep going on, and it's competitiveness, support, how do we fix it, rationale behind all of that, and multiple different things. How do we get school football back? How do we get more touches of the ball? And all of these different matters could be discussed for ages, but it's how we fix it is the key.
It is, and it probably does need a part 2. because we haven't fixed it. And naturally you go off key because we're passionate. None of this, sometimes, if this helps one person, this episode, right, and they've took a little bit of information, you've actually won, by the way. We've won because it's not scripted.
Yeah.
It's so off. I mean, you've got a phone full of notes in there. We haven't even used half of it.
No.
You had questions lined up. We haven't even used it because we care so much that it's passionate. That's why I think it's not about ballers, football coaching, right? But that's why it's different, because it's not scripted. You'll hear it in my voice.
There's an authenticity behind it.
It's lethal. It eats me up.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll leave it at that. And there's much more to discuss. I think people want your time, speaking to you, but you're a busy guy. You've got a business to run, you've got teams to run, you've got a whole load of stuff in the background, and they don't get the chance to hear you, hear what you've got to say in the majority of things. And I think it's been very, very welcoming, I would say so, about the open and frank discussion. Now, I don't think we've bladed anybody, but I think there's issues to be resolved and discussed. And I think moving forward, when we look at the Academy episode, and there'll be loads and loads that we can move on from. So on that basis, thanks very much for viewing.
Thank you.